Hi everyone, my name is Madi Leang and I am a user researcher. For this talk, I want to go ahead and speak a little bit about career pivoting. That's exactly what I did. I actually pivoted from a background in a couple of different industries before I went ahead and pivoted first into UX design, and then I wind up moving over to user research. So I want to talk a little bit about that, my background, who I am, and how all of that has pretty much shaped me to who I am today. So again, my name is Madi Leang. I am a user researcher at Evertrue working on their ThinkView product. We recently went through an M&A, so I was originally with ThinkView and now is with Evertrue. Essentially, my background first starts that I graduated in 2008, and for many of you that may or may not know, that was a good, unfortunate time for a recession, and when I graduated, there were no jobs. So it was very, very difficult, especially with me looking to kind of get into voice acting, which was something I wanted to do, and graduating with a degree in communication studies and having a minor in theater, and knowing that even just doing voice acting work couldn't fully sustain a life of just basic needs. Unfortunately, would not be able to do that, so I wanted to pick up another kind of job on my own, but was unable to. So for a while, I worked in retail. First stint, I was unemployed for a while and then was able to get an opportunity to work in retail before I was unemployed again, and then worked in retail again. And from there, I got to work with a freight forwarding company, and so doing their accounting, and then got to work in legal finance. And through this journey, I had essentially thought, I've gotten and I've gained all these skills. So what can I do with all these skills that I've amassed through the years of doing jobs that, I have grown to like, and there are certain aspects that I like to do. So I in turn took a career test that eventually led me to UX design. It also gave me things like game developer, level designer, and of course that's great because I'm also a person who loves video games. So I had looked into UX design for a little bit, did some research, and I was like, great, this seems like a very good, promising career transition field, and that's kind of what they would call UX design, is that it's very career transition friendly. So I kind of took money I didn't have and signed up for a boot camp and I was essentially kind of working with mentors and doing the, learning UX research, learning UX design, because a lot of boot camps, what they'll do is that they'll kind of code you to be a generalist. So you're kind of doing it all. You're doing the design work, you're doing the research, you're doing a little bit of UI. And the more that I immerse myself in these courses, I was just kind of like, I really like the aspect of talking to people about their pain points, because you may have gone on a forum of some sort, tried to fill out, give and provide feedback, and you probably think it just goes to the abyss and no one ever hears it. So I really wanted to work in a field because I've always been client facing. So I've always been talking and interacting with clients and customers and wanting to know their needs, their pain points, trying to solve for them, that sort of thing. So I realized that the more that I kind of did this generalist work, I was like, oh wow, I actually really like research a little bit more. And it kind of almost speaks to a younger version of me who really likes science and unfortunately never pursued that. So I basically took the skills that I had, and initially once I was still doing my courses, I sort of pivoted that it was a great opportunity into the job that I had at the time. We were essentially building a new program for not only myself but my coworkers to use, and the original program was like super outdated. So I wanted, and essentially what they wanted to do was replicate that program, which I was like, we can't bring the same pain points that my coworkers and I go through to this new system. So let me help you identify what those pain points are and what we can do to solve them. So I assisted with that, and that was kind of like my first true engagement with user research. And I wind up leaving that job, and then the pandemic happened. And I spent a lot of my time kind of upping my skills, still keeping my skills kind of fresh, doing some things, volunteer work, doing heuristic evaluations and things of that nature. So I was lucky enough to get hired by my company and start anew, work with a team, a product team, I should say, because I had only pretty much came with just working with developers and being the only product person that has the client or the customers or even my coworkers' voice in mind. So we were able to be led by an amazing manager who built out an amazing team. We achieved so much, and it was a great support to for the first time really be in a true collaborative experience. And I think that's something that I have grown to value, because sometimes with being a researcher, sometimes maybe your work isn't valued, or the organization may feel you're not bringing the value that they expect you to, because they want you to validate their concerns or validate what they think is a problem. And I kind of used to tell them, like, I want to be the person to kind of be that terrible two toddler that's just like, no, we shouldn't build this. No, we shouldn't move in this direction. But here's what we can do. Or let's not do this and let's move forward in this sort of direction. So that's kind of the mantra that I've taken with a lot of my research that I've been able to provide and bring, and to help elevate, the company and the product that I work for. So again, it's a journey, and you have to take it in stride. And like I said, I'm extremely lucky to be hired during a pandemic, and be able to use my skills to enhance a product, something I care about. And have loved the product that we work on and what we do, and it's been an amazing journey. But for me as a researcher, I have like what they usually try and tell you is like, oh, have an ethos, have something that is the guiding mantra, that no matter what you do, where you go, like, this is the thing that you follow. So I'm gonna kind of share that with you. So stick with me. So my ethos is that there's more than just receiving feedback from and hearing users. You have to listen to it and you have to understand it. I'm a person who connects with users to help discover and understand their pain points and seek the solve for them. My belief is the following: research is critical to the design process when it comes to products or experiences for users. If you're in the business of solving problems for users or gauging what they want without research, then whose problems are attempted to be being solved for? The users or the company's personal ones? And that's something I feel as researchers we need to keep in mind. That, well, let me back up. Not even just as researchers. I think people who are product managers, UI designers, UX designers, anyone that has a touch point with clients or customers need to keep this in mind. We need to stay away from things like confirmation bias. We need to be able to come to the table seeing 2 sides, 3 sides, 4 sides to a problem, and how we can go about solving this, because you'll find that you'll work around people who just want to say yes or build the thing. Don't worry about the research. We don't need the research. We don't need to inform. We already know what our clients think, or we already know the behaviors of our clients. And they'll come from a place sometimes that they don't know. They're just based on their assumptions about the 1 or 2 or maybe a small group of clients that they interact with. And it's those situations that you need to elevate and say, there's always time for research. Even if you do something in a smaller scale, like running a survey, that sort of thing is immensely important. And getting some sort of feedback from our users. We never want to go into a long sprint or a feature that takes a whole quarter to build, and then we find out users aren't using it. And that has also happened to me a couple of times where something will be released and then they'll go, hey, Maddie, people are not using this feature. Why aren't they using it? And then I'll be like, well, why did we build it? What's the reasoning? Where's the sense? Where's the research? If you didn't get the research from me, because this is the first time I'm seeing it, did you talk to a data analyst? Did you talk to anyone else on the team that might have dealt with customers? Did you reach out to customers? And I think it's really important to always have that focus, because even though we all know things like sales, revenue, these things are immensely important. No one's ever going to deny that. No one's ever going to say that making money is not important. But there's a certain part about it that you need to keep in mind, that we can't treat our clients, our users, our customers as cash cows, as dollar signs. And that is something that speaks deeply to me, because I would never want to, have a product that I use or a product that I own, and it's like there's constantly, say, add-ons, or I'm trying to navigate through a website and it's always asking me, upgrade, you can't have access to this unless you upgrade to this. Like, these sorts of experiences aren't good on a personal level. So it's like, why would I want to put a user through that sort of thing? Or we build for the one user and don't back it up with research that other users could also use this particular feature or thing that we're building out. And then what if that client leaves? Now we have this thing just sitting here that may not be useful to anyone else because maybe they're a particular edge case. Again, I'm not saying that we shouldn't build things without always backing up with research. It's ideal, but sometimes things don't work out that way. We need to do things fast, or let's just say if we know that a company is losing money because we don't have a particular feature or a particular function that, say, a competitor has, and we're losing money. In those sorts of cases, okay, maybe we don't need the research now. But if we were to elevate it in the future and we want to bring more value to clients that we know that they are going to use this, what ways can research guide and lead to improvements or things that we know that our users are going to use for this particular feature or this particular thing that we built out? So it's these sorts of things that we generally just need to keep in mind as researchers. And like I said before, it's not even just about researchers, it's anybody who has a touch point with clients. And we need to just keep those things in mind and essentially keep those things with us as well, because there may be times that you may get shaken. Someone may tell you that your work isn't important, or someone may tell you that there's no time for research. We don't need it. We already know. And sometimes you unfortunately have to roll with it, but don't let anyone ever discount the research that you do, even if it's small. Again, researchers are sort of like specialists. Some of us may kind of do the end-to-end process, like I said, be that generalist. So do the design, do the research, do more iterative process. Those things will happen, but don't let them weigh you down. Don't let them dissuade you from something that you're passionate about and something that you want to do. Don't let it discourage you. Don't let it become the thing that brings you down and essentially ruins your outlook on your future. I think it's immensely important to have an ethos of your own. And whenever things get a little bit rocky, when things get a little bit unsure, remind yourself why you're doing this. Remind yourself what is the driving factor. Remind yourself that you are the voice of the users, because without the users, what platform, what product, what company, these things won't exist without the users. So we always need to keep them in mind. We always need to consider them when we make these sort of big choices, revenue choices, sales choices, customer success, clients choices. We need to keep those things in mind. And it's immensely important to have them as a part of the process. If there's at any point you can bring a client in, or multiple clients in, a workshop session, those things are immensely helpful. And they're going to help elevate the things that maybe, you can break that confirmation bias. You can break that bias that maybe a different person or a stakeholder has. And those are the things that we need to just do as researchers, or even, like I said, people that create those touch points for clients, if they are even client facing, or even not. Because internal research is actually immensely powerful, and that is something that I'm actually looking to do a little bit more in my journey. So again, if you're a person who is looking to pivot into tech, pivot into design, pivot into research, go for it. Don't let anyone tell you no. There is an immense network of people, and they're going to be immensely supportive. And you, like anybody else, need to just find your people, find your tribe, as they say. The people that will elevate you, the people that will support you, the people that will continue to push you when you feel like you're lost or you're helpless and you don't know what direction to go in. So yeah, I appreciate you listening to me talk about my journey a little bit and how empowering it has really honestly been to be a researcher, to be the voice of the customers, and to see that impact that you make and celebrate those. Because if you don't, who will? So make sure when your impact is shown, and even if you're the only one who sees it, celebrate that, because it is worth celebrating. No research is useless, and don't let others tell you otherwise. Remember your ethos, carry it with you, let it empower you.